It sounds like there's a lot of frustration and discussion around these issues. I really hope that blind item about Kenya going after Bravo for not firing Scandoval over revenge porn is true. It's infuriating to think he wasn't even put on hold pending the lawsuit outcome. On a related note, could the hiatus be a sort of pause pending the lawsuit? If so, the cast should be much more outraged at this situation. But somehow, the blame for the hiatus is being pinned on Ariana for not letting that awful man-child have his way this season. Maybe if the rest of the cast had refused to film with someone who violated a woman's privacy like Scandoval did, they'd be filming right now. Then again, Scheana shared Stassi's revenge porn around their workplace, and she's still getting paid. So I guess this is just par for the course for them. Before all this, Scandoval's salary was reportedly $50,000 per episode. So this blind item suggesting it doubled to $100,000 seems suspect to me. He wouldn't be in as much debt if he were making that kind of money. However, I do agree that if what Kenya did is true, it's hypocritical of Bravo to fire her while trying to repair Scandoval's reputation after he did something equally bad, if not worse. Doubling his salary, considering how tight his finances seem to be, especially after lowballing Ariana and trying to get Schwartz to move in to help with bills, I highly doubt it. Despite the complexities, I do support Kenya calling out Bravo for her firing while Scandoval remains employed, especially after Bravo edited out scenes where Raquel confronted him about recording her without permission. Both actions were wrong, but the crucial difference is that Kenya's incident happened on camera, implicating Bravo as well. What Scandoval did was off-camera and harder to prove malicious intent. It's essentially Raquel's word against his, and she's even implicating Ariana in her lawsuits, which raises questions. The bottom line remains that Kenya's actions happened while she was on the job, which fundamentally changes the context. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Spill Chronicles. It's me, Ramona, here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching, so let's dive into today's video. However, it seems like there's a lot of skepticism and discussion about TomTom's role on the show. Here's a rewritten version of your thoughts. After finishing Season 6, the whole concept of TomTom feels like it was manufactured for the plot. Tom Scandoval and Tom Schwartz aren't genuine business partners in any real sense. It seems more like Lisa Vanderpump created TomTom to give the cast a new hangout spot, since many wouldn't be working at SUR much longer, targeting the two most gullible guys with fragile egos. Is this generally how people see TomTom? Their preview party while construction was still ongoing was hilariously premature. I think most people view it this way, especially since it's essentially become the garden at TomTom, mirroring Pump. Scandoval and Schwartz don't have the financial or expertise investment to be true business partners. They're more like mascots and occasional nuisances. Exactly, they're also suckers because instead of being paid for using their names and faces, they ended up paying Lisa. Lisa treated them terribly too. Acting like she was giving them a real opportunity was laughable. Refusing to draw up a contract was sketchy, and waiting a whole year to cash their checks was disgraceful. Surprise cashing a $50,000 check a year later with no notice and blaming them when the money wasn't there was just wrong. She's not a good businesswoman. She likely chose them because the audience loved them individually and their bromance. Without the fan support, she wouldn't have taken a risk on those himbos without solid data. From a branding perspective, it made sense at the time. Both Toms were individually popular with the audience, and their friendship had significant viewer buy-in. It was perfect to make them the faces of the bar. Now that their popularity is waning, LVP seems to be slowly shifting the focus away from TomTom and toward Pump. Additionally, it sounds like there's a lot of speculation and analysis going on about Scandoval and Raquel's relationship timeline. I'm a bit of a rage text truther, but I haven't mustered the will to do a deep rewatch of Season 8. which I detest the most. However, I do think something significant happened that night, especially given the microexpression from Scandoval when he denied betraying James. My theory is they initially hooked up in the summer of 2019, but didn't continue until much later, possibly late 2020 or early 2021 during the pandemic. That's when Tom, Ariana, Raquel, and James would hang out in San Diego with Scheana and Brock. From there, it progressed through the filming of Season 9, with Raquel eventually ending things with James to push Tom to break up with Ariana. Whenever it happened, it definitely wasn't during a guys' night. The next day, when Raquel went to Tom and Ariana's, their casual demeanor didn't reflect the aftermath of a recent betrayal through a hookup just hours earlier. There should have been some awkwardness and embarrassment. I think the incident you mentioned, where Raquel told the girls about James' rage texts and her being out with friends, was likely the first time. There may have been some time before they resumed their involvement. They seemed deeply involved by the time of the Season 9 reunion, when Raquel broke up with James. I'd also believe there was an emotional affair before any physical intimacy, possibly involving flirtation and spending time together. You don't just jump into getting naked and having sex in a car without prior emotional closeness. Tom's reaction when Raquel arrived at the Mondrian suggests he was anticipating her visit, and Raquel had likely already decided to leave the trip early to be with him, regardless of any pressure from the girls. It's possible they had planned out the Rachel or Schwartz storyline in advance to distract producers. I find it puzzling how production supported Sandoval's comeback after he spent a year hiding richer drama behind a contrived storyline. While they may have had an emotional affair and perhaps a drunken makeout session or two before, I believe they started hooking up around the time they claim. I doubt they could have hidden a long-term affair without someone leaking it, considering their thirst for attention. If they had started hooking up before Boys' Night, I think someone would have spilled the beans by now. Rachel, Scandoval, and the others involved are all attention seekers, and with the timeline becoming less critical, someone would likely have revealed it to regain some spotlight before fading into obscurity. On the other hand, it's always intriguing to ponder which couples or potential pairings viewers wish had either worked out or never happened. Here are the sentiments expressed. Firstly, Kristen and Jax. Despite their tumultuous history, some might see them as secretly compatible and entertaining, imagining them together as TV gold. Secondly, Lala and James. While chaotic, their relationship could have been fun and dramatic for the brief period it might have lasted. Thirdly, Tom and Raquel. In Season 11, there was curiosity about seeing Tom and Raquel date on camera, not necessarily because they would be a good match, but because it would be entertaining. Fourthly, Katie and Schwartz. There's a wish to see a version of Schwartz without Scandoval in his life, and a hope that he would have valued Katie more, especially in defending her against criticism and gaslighting. These perspectives show a mix of nostalgia for what could have been, curiosity about unlikely pairings, and a desire for different outcomes in past relationships. Moreover, your vision for Something About Her as a TV show sounds compelling and mature, focusing on the real challenges and successes of life post-reality TV fame. Forget about Vanderpump Rules. The recent season's production has shattered it beyond repair. No more Scandoval, LVP, or anyone else trying to cling to fame, including Scheana and Brock. I want Something About Her front and center, showcasing Katie, Ariana, and Anne as they navigate the challenges of opening a business in Hollywood. I'm eager to see how they navigate their relationships after leaving long-term partners. I want a realistic portrayal of life after being on a successful TV show for over a decade, despite not appearing wealthy. As side stories, I'd be interested in Lala's business journey, not so much her personal life, and occasional appearances from Tom Schwartz, James, Ally, Peter, and Stassi. Stassi's journey from losing everything to building a successful career intrigues me. No more drunken nights out, parties, or tearing each other down. I envision a mature show focused on women taking control and supporting each other. I believe many people dream of living in America or Hollywood, being their own boss, and navigating life in their 30s. I would wholeheartedly cheer them on as they pursue their dreams. On the other hand, Rob's dynamic with Scheana during Season 6 of Vanderpump Rules indeed left viewers puzzled. Here's a summary of his portrayal and the reactions. Rob appeared disinterested or reserved in Scheana's presence, despite continuing the relationship and participating in the show. This led many to speculate if he was only involved for the sake of being on television. The divorce closet storyline, where Scheana discussed starting a business with Rob, seemed forced and lacked genuine enthusiasm from Rob's side. It's perceived that Scheana was more emotionally invested in the relationship than Rob, possibly driven by a need not to be single and to maintain a relationship on the show's spotlight. Rob's discomfort with Scheana's eagerness to discuss marriage while she was still in the process of divorcing was evident, suggesting he wasn't on the same page regarding their future. During the reunion, Andy Cohen's minimal questioning about Rob and Scheana's relationship contrasted sharply with how other relationships on the show were scrutinized, such as Stassi and Patrick's. This lack of focus on Rob and Scheana's relationship added to the confusion surrounding their storyline. Overall, Rob's demeanor and the portrayal of their relationship on the show left viewers questioning his motives and level of commitment, contributing to the intrigue and speculation surrounding their dynamic during that season. However, it sounds like Season 9 of the show has some intense moments, especially with Tom's behavior towards Katie and Ariana's response. In Season 9, there's a particularly memorable clip from Episode 5 where Tom attempts to lecture Katie, only to be effortlessly shut down by Ariana, proving her assertion that she was born cool. Tom's attempt to assert dominance comes off as over-the-top and unnecessary, yet again targeting a female cast member. It's striking that Schwartz doesn't step in to defend his wife with a simple "don't talk to my wife like that." Instead, he sits there, appearing weak and indecisive. It's clear Katie and Ariana are stronger without the drama these men bring. Katie keeps looking to Schwartz for support, but he fails to stand up for her, leaving her to point out flaws and handle situations alone. It's disappointing that Tom seems to ask for help and then backtrack, leaving Katie to manage on her own. It seems like Season 9 is full of these revealing dynamics and conflicts among the cast. Additionally, Jax and Stassi were broken up at the time when Jax and Kristen slept together. This happened during the period when Jax was trying to win Stassi back after their initial breakup post-Season 1, but before Season 2 began. Stassi still had feelings for Jax, and he was actively pursuing her, declaring his love for her. Meanwhile, Kristen, who was in a rocky phase with Tom, encouraged Stassi to reconcile with Jax. During this time, Jax and Stassi were in a phase of uncertainty, with Stassi feeling conflicted about whether they should get back together. Kristen, in her own tumultuous relationship with Tom, ended up sleeping with Jax amid this complicated emotional landscape. The situation was further complicated by the hot and cold dynamics between Jax and Stassi, with Stassi sometimes teasing Jax about their physical relationship. Moreover, it seems like there's speculation and curiosity about Stassi Schroeder potentially wanting to return to Vanderpump Rules or Bravo in general. There's been chatter about whether Stassi Schroeder is angling for a return to Vanderpump Rules or Bravo. She frequently references her time on the show and discusses her former friends or Bravo-related topics on her podcast, which can give off vibes of reminiscing about her past glory days. Despite not being on TV for several years, she continues to draw connections to her Bravo days. As an original listener who tuned out when her podcast turned somewhat delusional and mean-spirited, I checked back in to see what she's been up to, especially after hearing about Jax and Kristen's successful podcast. With Jax and Kristen making a return, some think Stassi should pitch herself to producers for a comeback, especially since Bravo seems open to bringing back familiar faces. Stassi has previously stated concerns about her family getting a bad edit, similar to other Bravo moms, yet she frequently shares content about her kids that could easily be monetized on TV. Despite her denials, her persistent focus on her Bravo past on the podcast leads some to think she secretly desires a return. As Shakespeare might say, the lady doth protest too much, suggesting that if she were truly over it, she might pivot to discussing other topics more consistently. It's possible she's been quietly pitching herself for a spot on Bravo's new ventures like The Valley. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.